the morning, I swim and look for food. My sense of smell is amazing. In the afternoon, I gallop through fields with a little stop for grazing.
I've heard of Garanimals, I've heard of Danimals, but until today, I've never heard of a Randimal. A Randimal is random animal, I'm sure, but also a toy dreamed up in Ketchum, like a Hork, which is a half horse, half shark, but now fully caught up in a trade war. Hunter Funk shows us how a cute, silly, stuffed animal is colliding with some serious, very serious tariffs.
In Ketchum,
Welcome.
You'll find a B-Rex, a Hork.
Dun, 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 dun. Hi, the name's Hawk. Part shark, part horse.
Among many other random animals.
Hi, my name is Turtle.
Or as Nick Harmon calls it,
Randimals.
and his Ketchum business is built on being different.
Randimals are a combination animal plush, like Hork here, and we also have figures, and we also have written a couple of award-winning books, and the whole company, its DNA is centered around this very simple message that what makes us different makes all the difference in the world.
The idea came about with his friend in 2013, but without the know-how, the bandwidth, or the finances to make that a reality, it took the pandemic to slow them down enough to create the vision.
That is the silver lining that came from COVID. We've been able to grow this business quite quickly over the last few years.
It's now gone international. In February, they began selling in the UK and Germany, after a few years in just the US. But in the world of tariffs, being different can be expensive.
We had 3 containers that were stuck overseas that we were wanting to bring in to the United States because we were getting low on inventory. But as that escalation of tariffs happened between China and the United States, reaching its peak at 145%, we were just stuck. We could not bring our product over. The value approximately of those 3 containers was somewhere in the region of $100,000 in product. So therefore, at that particular time, if we were to bring it over, it would have cost us $145,000 in tariffs, aside from the product itself.
Thankfully, the 90-day pause came into effect, but it still means paying 30%, or for Randimals, $12,000 extra per container in tariffs. And he says shipping costs went up as well. Harmon has to pay it up front, anticipating the needs for Christmas, which makes planning nearly impossible.
75% of a toy business's business is at the Christmas period. So from November to December, that's when the lion's share of our profits or our sales happen. So Christmas is coming up, obviously. And so knowing what that tariff is going to be when the product arrives in October is difficult. And also, to what extent can we hang on and not pass on these costs to the consumer?
That's the reality for many Idaho small businesses. Ross Burkhart, a BSU political science professor, says they can either eat the costs or pass them along to shoppers.
The tariff rate is 30%, so that's extraordinarily high. That's as high as it's been in the past 90 years. So that's a lot to ask for small businesses in particular, who don't really have the scale to be able to absorb costs of tariffs the same way that larger businesses do.
And this Christmas, Burkhart says don't be surprised if there's less product. And what ends up under the tree will cost more.
For Christmas toys, it's 80% of the market right there is in China. So those toy prices are likely to be higher. There's likely to be a lower supply of them as well, as businesses try to guess at what the tariff rate would be like. So they try to balance that off with their balance sheet and see what they can afford.
It's an unclear path for many businesses. But for Harmon, he hasn't raised prices just yet. He wants to grow Randimals, hire more employees, and make the product available in other countries who've already shared interest. But right now, he says it feels like small businesses are in the crosshairs.
It's really worrying. We want to scale our business and we want to, keep ordering more product and make more product. And it's hard to know what the future, is going to be.
Okay, so it's easy to say it's tough for business, but Randimals are trying their best to keep things light, and they have a new Randimal called Tariff. They're going to release it soon. It is a mastiff with tarantula legs. They say they're trying, of course, to make the best of their situation, but I like it, Tariff.
A tariff. Okay, that does make
Yeah,
sense. Yeah, they are trying to make the best of it. Now, I assume like this is the problem we're going to see because he doesn't seem like somebody who has the means or the desire to build a factory
Right.
in the United States to
Yes.
avoid these tariffs.
This is exactly what he talked about. He says, we want to, we'd love to. He goes, but financially, China has figured out how to do it and do it well. And
Right.
yeah, they can't afford to do it.
And there's lots of entrepreneurs out there that are in
Yes.
this situation. So, okay, so I guess the question other than that is, I'm looking at their website. The names, the Sea Dog, that seems easy, but the
Yeah.
Zangaroo, my favorite probably, the girdle.
Yes. And his family has a huge influence on this. I guess they were watching Toy Story.
Okay. Oh,
and
yeah.
Remember Sid and
Yeah,
how he's
and
the
he-
crazy one in that?
Yep,
Well, they
that
said
makes sense.
Sid was misunderstood, so they're letting him feel
There you go.
like the superhero.
Okay, so yeah, see something comes out. The girdle,
Yeah.
by the way, giraffe turtle combination.
Yes.
Look it up. Well,
Turtle.
Thanks, Hunter.